So that's where I'm going today. There's a ruin on top of that that's very sort of impressive looking. A little bit of a pain in the butt to get to it. Start in these little hills, but with sort of deep creeks. I went up to this ruin about 5 years ago, I think, and was very impressed by it. There wasn't much up there in the way of artifacts, which was surprising because it's pretty substantial ruin. And so I'm taking a different approach up today. So far it looks like a worse one. Well, the map shows that if I get up on the ridge here, I may have a little bit flatter walking over to it, so we'll head up this way. Well, I gained this ridge top, and it does look better walking up here. I don't know which way I'll come down. I guess first I have to get to the top, don't I? Well, certainly well defended by cliffs on this side. We're going to have to drop down a little bit before we head up again, and I think we'll approach from the back side, or maybe we can find a little chink in the armor on this left side. Well, this looks like the low spot before we head up. A lot of vegetation to wade through. Try not to wade through the real sticky stuff. Well, I contemplated going up there just under the cliff to look to see if I could find any pottery or artifacts that might have fallen off the top, but I don't think I will. It'll take a lot of extra energy to do that and do the sort of difficult steep traverse around to the far side. But a nice view from up here. There in the distance, I think center of the screen, that's Four Peaks, which appear on the Arizona state license plate. Although I think the view is from the other side, from the Phoenix side. From the other side, a petroglyph that is considered a solstice sign, because right on the summer solstice, the sun rises just in the middle of the cleft between the peaks 2 and 3, or in the middle of the 4 peaks. Well, the traverse keeps pushing me higher than I was planning, but it opens up more up higher. Even a little remnant of a track, maybe an animal track right here. Well, maybe I can quit traversing and just go up here. Looks like a little break up there. A little steep to get there, but probably faster overall. Well, I'm getting near the top and see the first sign of some defensive walls meant to keep people like me out. I don't know if I'm blocking the sun well enough. Stacked stone wall right up there. So here's the first defensive wall. I come up quite close to it to block the sun. It continues right here at my back. That's where I entered. You can see the walls knocked down there. That's the part I was just showing the other side of, but here's the continuation. Now, as I recall, in the satellite, it shows a great big, almost half circle on one end, and that's this. Pretty well preserved. You see it's knocked down a little bit there, but that's a big wall. They got cliffs on the side over there, but you can see this wall is protecting them from the less steep side, which is down there. Another view of the sort of half circular perimeter. Lots of nice hills around here. This is the only one that I can see a ruin on top of, but there may be stuff if you look closely. But we'll continue this way. You can already see some of the rooms. That's obviously a single room. Look how nice that wall is. Big rocks still in place. That's not so common. I think to see the construction is interesting. You know, this is one of the rare ones that I know around here where this is probably original build. It's not something that's been buried and dug out. I mean, it just couldn't be, just looking at it. This is original. I don't know why it's so much better preserved than most of them. I don't think there's a lot of pottery around here. I don't know whether that's because maybe archaeologists picked it up for analysis. It just doesn't make sense there be as many rooms as there are up here without habitation and habitation signs. This is this room we looked at already, just from the other side. Look over here, another one. Again, very well preserved. You know, if it was just a single wall, I might say somebody came and restacked it, but you know, this is not an easy place to get to. I don't believe any Boy Scouts or, you know, flat earthers or whoever does this kind of thing would come up and reconstruct this. Another ruin, another wall, another ruin over here. This is the side we came up over here, so the perimeter wall continues. That's a big wall in the middle. Obviously one of the room walls. And look at that. Again, that's a big room and well preserved. That big wall is, again, I believe that's a perimeter wall. Well, we'll go see. It's near the edge. This is clearly a room. Watch my step. Got a big rock built into it, into the side. Same way over here. Let's look over the side. Yeah, we got the cliff over here. And this is a room wall. This is the other side. I assume it's a room. I'm not, you can't really be sure of anything. Two walls close to each other could make a room. You could put a roof on it. A friend of mine does a lot of work on what sort of plants have been brought in by the residents for, you know, purposes for food or medicine or whatever. So I like to take the pictures of what I see here. This particular agave, I can't identify what kind it is, but he probably could. This is, I think that's ephedra, which certainly has medicinal properties. A lot of that right here. I'm looking at it. Mormon tea, I think. It's this room we saw from just a little ways back. The lower wall. We can see we're around the edge of the cliff here. So this is a room on the edge of the cliff. Imagine you had to teach your kids to be careful. Don't fall off the cliff. And some more agaves. You know, could be domesticated ones. Again, the cliff's probably too steep to worry about people coming in that way. Leaving that room, come this other way. We got more of a wall here. And this must be another room. At least we've got walls on three sides. Pretty high wall here. And again, I'm not seeing pottery in these rooms, which is too bad. I like to find pottery. Oh, look, there's a, looks like maybe a little hole down there. It's not uncommon to have holes deliberately built inside. This one is not like others, though. Others have thicker walls and it's more obvious the holes were built in. I don't know, these walls are a little bit flimsy for ancient walls. Continuing around the perimeter. This is the side that has the steep cliffs. Doesn't need defensive walls. Yeah, you know, that's pretty steep down there. No need to worry about anybody coming up here. A piece of pottery, let's see. Yeah, I think it is. That's regular old plain pottery. This makes me think, because this room's a little different, it could be a little bit later, but this seems to be early pottery, you know, at least 700-800 years old. On this side, you can walk around a little bit outside these walls. I guess still pretty steep to approach. So these are room walls. Looks like a little almost circular room here. See room wall all along here. That's a big wall. It's a room wall. I think this is sort of where we started on the perimeter. Yeah, there's the first room. This is one of these early rooms. Approached from the other side. Looks like somebody's dug that out there, interestingly enough. Oh, I don't know. They're more than likely a pot hunter as opposed to a archaeologist. But look at how, again, you can see the construction use these big rocks as a foundation. That's interesting. And if they did that here, they're all buried still. But again, you can imagine this with a roof on it made of sticks and other plant material. Continuing along. Maybe this is the circular room from the other side. Those rocks are not, those walls are not very sturdy. I'm surprised if they're hundreds of years old that they've lasted this long. But that is the best explanation. These walls are certainly sturdier looking. I mean, that's just a single course, but they're big rocks. Looks like it was made pretty well. That's a thicker one. I don't know, the tree grown out of the middle, there may have been something in there. Trees like to grow out of the ruins. Huh. Look at these things. That's just a dividing wall right there. Who knows, maybe we had families that like to keep a line between them. I don't know. Here's this big rectangular room. It's got a nice entrance right here. That's a big wall we looked at from the other side already. And that's a pretty substantial wall on this side. And obviously big wall on this side and pretty good walls all the way around. It's got a big rock built into it over there. Take advantage of the natural stones. A little less work. Just make use of it. There's that fine wall there. And so this room shares a wall. So this is the one we're just at. This wall is shared with this next room down the hill. Across the way there, that's certainly a nice, couple nice walls with a corner there. Let's go look at those. So this is quite a thing here, this passageway between these two big walls. That's something I'm not used to seeing. Of course, you know, most of the ruins around here completely collapsed, so maybe you wouldn't notice it, but it's almost like a street with buildings, and this being an alley or a lane that I'm walking in. But look at this wall. Now that's a legit wall. Thick and will last. You know, this one maybe less so. It gets quite thin here. And you know, some of them were, it's just a single course is obviously much more fragile. But this is the room. It's got walls on three sides. And four side there's probably collapsed. I assume that's what's going on. Here's a view of this alley passageway between these two fine walls here. And that's a pretty good view there, just looking up at the, you know, into the distance, wall. It's quite a place for Arizona. I know there's other places that have, you know, really impressive ruins, but around here, unless you find a sheltered cliff dwelling, most of them are collapsed down to the ground. This is unusual, this one. Agave Ferran. Maybe a couple rooms here, if that's a divider in the middle that's fallen down. Nice sort of open area here. Don't see any signs, any rock for grinding or lithics or pottery. Sort of a mystery to me. Well, I'm going to be thinking about going back. I think I'm going to go down a different way. Well, I think I can exit through this gap. And down this ridge. And here's another one. That's a beauty. That agave. You know, possibly brought up here by the people who lived here. Again, need an expert to tell me. So looking back, this would have been the easiest approach. Anybody coming here would have come up this ridge down here and they would have run into this wall. From further back, thinking of going down on that right side. I don't know, it drops off pretty steep. We'll have to see. Well, I've come down to a little saddle here. And I'm planning to try to go off to the right if it's not too steep. First time I came here a few years ago, I came up from this side, which isn't bad. But I think this side will be better for getting me back to my car. Well, that creek in the bottom here takes me out near my car. I think it's probably too thick to walk in the creek bottom though, so I'm staying a little high where I can generally find my way between the bushes and the cactus. And I've been passing quite a few big rocks down here, probably fallen off the cliff, but I haven't seen any petroglyphs, unfortunately. That would be a nice surprise if I did. Well, the creek looks pretty clear down there. Maybe it's clear in the creek bed. That happens if it runs fast enough to wipe out the plants, because otherwise the plants just choke it. I hit the creek after a lot of vertical limboing through with the cactuses, right at a drop-off. Sort of surprised. Sometimes drop-offs are interesting if there were people around. Yeah, and this one I can easily walk down. Yes, I'm liking this. I can make about 5x speed as I was getting through the